Close your eyes for a moment and let the edges of the world soften. Imagine the stars overhead not as burning spheres of gas, but as luminous ideas suspended in a vast and dreaming mind. Imagine the ground beneath you as more than soil and stone, but as a living memory, a thought that chose to take shape. What if every tree, every breath, every heartbeat was not merely happening in a universe, but happening inside a single boundless consciousness? This is the whisper of the ancient Hermetic Law of Mentalism, the principle that declares, the all is mind, the universe is mental. These words are not a metaphor to be admired from a distance. They are a key, a quiet invitation to see reality not as something solid and separate, but as something alive, intelligent, and profoundly mental in its essence. The sages of old spoke in riddles because they knew that the mind resists the idea that it is both the painter and the canvas. Yet beneath the riddle lies a simple, staggering truth. Everything you touch, everything you see, everything you believe yourself to be, arises first as a thought within the infinite mind. Consider a dream. While you sleep, landscapes appear, characters speak, entire dramas unfold. In the dream, you do not question the mountains or the moon. They feel as real as daylight. Only when you awaken do you realize that every detail, the air, the laughter, even the fear, was woven by your own consciousness. Hermetic wisdom suggests that waking life is not so different. We too are inside a dream, but the dreamer is far greater than the individual self. The dreamer is the all, an infinite field of awareness that imagines galaxies as easily as it imagines a single thought in your mind. Modern science, in its quiet way, has begun to circle this mystery. Physicists peer into the quantum realm and find that matter is not the solid foundation we once believed, but a restless sea of probabilities. Particles flicker in and out of existence until observed. Observation, the act of consciousness, gives shape to the unshaped. The universe, it seems, responds to the presence of a mind. The old Hermetic teaching smiles at these discoveries, as if to say, "We told you so." For thousands of years, initiates of the mystery schools have known that thought is not a mere byproduct of matter. Thought is the architect of matter. But what does it mean to live in a mental universe? It means that the walls of separation are thinner than they appear. If the cosmos is a vast mind, then you are not a visitor wandering through foreign lands. You are a spark of that very mind, a living idea, exploring itself from the inside. Your thoughts are not private whispers lost to the void. They are currents in the great ocean of consciousness, capable of shaping the reality you experience. Every belief is a brushstroke on the canvas of existence. Every emotion sends ripples through the field that holds the stars. The table before you, the sound of your breath, the feeling of your own heartbeat, each is a note in a grand symphony of thought. You are listening to the music even as you help compose it. And if the universe is music, then awareness is the instrument that brings it to life. When you shift the key of your own inner melody through intention, through love, through understanding, the song of reality shifts with you. Yet the law of mentalism is not a call to egoic control. It does not say that the individual mind commands the cosmos like a tyrant issuing orders. Instead, it points to a subtler power, the power of alignment. Your personal mind is a lens through which the infinite mind looks upon itself. When the lens is clouded with fear, the world appears fragmented and hostile. When the lens is clear, reality reveals its hidden harmony. Creation is not forced. It is allowed. It unfolds through resonance, like a note that causes a string across the room to hum in sympathy. This is why the Hermetic masters spoke of mental discipline and inner purification. To know the universe as thought is to become responsible for the quality of one's own thinking. Every judgment, every resentment, every spark of gratitude sends a signal into the infinite field. To think is to create, even when we are unaware of the creation. The ancients understood this not as superstition, but as the mechanics of a living cosmos. If you have ever felt the strange convergence of synchronicity, a song playing at the perfect moment, a chance encounter that answers a silent question, you have brushed against the law of mentalism in action. These are not accidents, but reflections, the universe mirroring the vibrations of the mind. Life is a hall of mirrors where inner states echo outward, shaping the events we call fate. Take a slow breath. Feel the space around you as more than empty air. It is alive with thought, humming with the silent intelligence that gives rise to planets and poetry alike. You are breathing the substance of mind, and mind is breathing you. In truth, there is no boundary between the two. There never was. As this realization deepens, the ordinary world begins to shimmer. The sky is no longer just blue. It is the dream of color. The voice you hear now is not merely sound. It is vibration, given meaning by consciousness. Even your own sense of self, your name, your memories, your hopes, becomes a pattern of thoughts playing across the surface of something immeasurably vast. The Hermetic sages offered this first principle not as a final answer, but as a doorway. To glimpse the universe as a thought is to take the first step into a greater mystery. If all is mind, then every question you carry is already known. Every path you walk is a thought returning to its source. The journey is not about reaching some distant realm. It is about awakening to the truth that you have always been home. Keep this key close as we continue, for when you understand that all is mind, the next revelation begins to unfold, the ancient lineage of wisdom that carried this truth across centuries, and the echoes of those who first dared to speak it. The story of the law of mentalism does not begin in the modern world, nor even in the quiet libraries of ancient Greece. Its roots reach back to the glowing sands of Egypt, to a time when temples were not merely places of worship, but living laboratories of cosmic understanding. Imagine walking through the cool stone corridors of an Egyptian mystery school. Torches flicker against walls etched with symbols, hawks that speak of vision, serpents that coil with hidden energy, suns that blaze with eternal light. Here, the universe was not only observed, it was experienced as mind, as thought, as dream. The figure who stands at the threshold of this wisdom is Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes, a name that blends the Egyptian god Thoth with the Greek Hermes. Thoth was the scribe of the gods, the keeper of time, the measurer of the heavens. Hermes was the messenger, the bridge between mortal and divine. Together they form an archetype of eternal knowledge, a being said to have walked the earth when the pyramids were young, carrying truths older than the stars themselves. The texts attributed to Hermes, fragments of the Corpus Hermeticum and the legendary Emerald Tablet, speak in a language of paradox and poetry. As above, so below, as within, so without. These words are not just mystical riddles, they are blueprints of reality. They reveal a cosmos where every level of existence mirrors the next, where the patterns of galaxies echo the thoughts of the human heart. The law of mentalism sits at the center of these teachings like a hidden sun, illuminating the idea that creation is a reflection of the mind of the all. Picture the priests and initiates who gathered beneath the temple stars. They studied not only mathematics and astronomy, but the subtle movements of consciousness itself. They knew that numbers were living beings, that sound could build worlds, that a single-focused thought could ripple across the Nile of eternity. Their rituals were not superstition. They were experiments in the art of thought. Chanting, geometry, and sacred music became tools to tune the human mind to the frequency of the cosmos. From Egypt, these ideas traveled like golden threads through the tapestry of history. Greek philosophers, Pythagoras, Plato, Plotinus, drank deeply from the wells of Hermetic wisdom. Pythagoras spoke of the music of the spheres, Plato of eternal forms, Plotinus of the One. Each concept carries the fragrance of Egyptian night air, the sound of desert winds moving through temple gates. When the Renaissance dawned centuries later, Hermetic writings resurfaced in Europe, sparking a new age of alchemy, science, and art. The principle remained unchanged. The universe is mental, and the human mind is its reflection. But Egypt was not alone in this vision. Across the world, sages of India spoke of Maya, the cosmic dream. Buddhist masters describe reality as mind only. Taoist mystics whispered of the formless Tao that gives birth to all forms. Though separated by oceans and centuries, these traditions converge like rivers flowing into one great sea. Each points to the same truth the Hermeticists proclaimed on their temple walls. What we call reality is a dance of consciousness, a song of infinite thought. Consider how remarkable this is. Long before quantum physics revealed the strange behavior of subatomic particles, long before psychologists explored the depths of the subconscious, the priests of Egypt and the mystics of the East were already mapping a universe that responds to awareness. They understood that the line between thinker and thought is illusory. To them, the cosmos was not a machine of dead matter, but a living mind, breathing dreams into galaxies. The Emerald Tablet, that small yet powerful relic of Hermetic lore, condenses this wisdom into a single shining formula. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. This is not only a statement of cosmic symmetry, it is an instruction. If the all is mind, then every level of creation, from the dance of atoms to the birth of stars, carries the signature of thought. By understanding the patterns within ourselves, we understand the patterns of the heavens. Imagine the night sky over ancient Heliopolis, the great city of the sun. Stars wheel silently above the black ribbon of the Nile. The air is cool and heavy with incense. In a hidden chamber, a student kneels before a teacher cloaked in linen and mystery. The teacher speaks softly of the one mind that dreams the world, of the power of thought to shape destiny. The student listens, heart pounding, realizing for the first time that the boundary between self and cosmos is a veil of smoke. In that moment, the law of mentalism is not a theory, it is a revelation. This ancient lineage is not merely history. It lives within you. Each time you question the solidity of the world, each time you feel the subtle hum of awareness beneath the noise of daily life, you are touching the same truth that burned in the temples of Egypt. The names and symbols may change, but the essence remains. The universe is mental, and your mind is a ray of that infinite intelligence. Let these echoes guide you deeper. For in the next step of our journey, we will see how the language of modern science, quantum fields, holographic realities, the mysterious role of the observer, has begun to rediscover what the ancients knew in their bones. The desert winds carry their message still. All is mind, and the universe is its eternal thought. The ancient priests of Egypt spoke of a universe born from mind, and for centuries their wisdom drifted like a half-remembered dream. But now, in the laboratories of modern science, that dream stirs again. Physicists peer into the smallest depths of matter and find a world that behaves less like solid stone and more like a shimmering thought. It is as if the cosmos has left subtle fingerprints, inviting us to rediscover what the Hermetic masters declared long ago. Reality is mental, and consciousness is its hidden architect. Imagine looking through a powerful microscope into the heart of an atom. What you find is not a tiny marble spinning in empty space, but a restless cloud of possibilities. Electrons do not exist as fixed objects. They hover in a field of potential, like unformed ideas waiting for a decision. Only when observed do they collapse into a definite state, becoming something measurable, something real. This is the famous observer effect, and it echoes the ancient teaching that mind gives form to the formless. The double-slit experiment illustrates this mystery with poetic clarity. When particles of light or matter are fired through two slits, they create a pattern of interference, as if each particle behaves like a wave, exploring many paths at once. But when a conscious observer watches, the pattern changes. The wave of possibilities collapses into a single track, as though the universe responds to the simple act of awareness. To the Hermetic ear, this is not merely physics, it is the law of mentalism revealed through mathematics. Quantum entanglement deepens the wonder. Two particles born together can remain mysteriously connected, no matter how far apart they travel. Change the state of one, and the other responds instantly, faster than light could carry a signal. It is as if distance itself is an illusion, as if the underlying reality is a seamless field of intelligence in which all things are already united. The ancients spoke of the all, the one mind behind all forms. Quantum entanglement offers a scientific whisper of that same unity. Consider the holographic principle, a theory suggesting that the universe behaves like a vast hologram, where each part contains the pattern of the whole. A hologram is created when light waves interfere, encoding a three-dimensional image in a two-dimensional surface. When you break the image, each fragment still carries the entire picture. This idea mirrors the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below, as within, so without. It suggests that every grain of existence contains the totality of the cosmos, just as every thought within you carries the resonance of the infinite mind. Some scientists now speak of consciousness not as a byproduct of matter, but as a fundamental property of the universe, perhaps even more fundamental than space or time. Theoretical physicists debate whether reality itself is a vast informational network, a cosmic computation unfolding in the mind of something immeasurable. Each discovery brings them closer to the threshold where science and mysticism meet, where equations begin to sound like ancient prayers. But quantum physics does more than validate old teachings. It invites us to live differently. If observation shapes reality, then every act of attention becomes an act of creation. The thoughts you nurture, the emotions you allow, the stories you tell yourself, all of these are subtle measurements collapsing infinite potential into lived experience. The universe is not a stage upon which you passively watch events unfold. It is a responsive field, a mirror that reflects the vibration of your inner state. Feel the way awareness moves through you, silent and vast. Notice how each sensation, each sound, exists only because it is known. Without consciousness, there is no color, no taste, no universe. The very fact of experience is proof of the central role of mind. Science may use equations to describe this, but the essence is something you can feel directly in this moment. And yet the quantum world does not give us control in the way the ego might desire. It does not promise that every fleeting wish will instantly manifest. Instead, it teaches something subtler, that reality is participatory. We are co-creators, not dictators. The field of potential responds to the quality of our consciousness, our clarity, our coherence, our alignment with the deeper rhythms of the whole. When we think, we are not shouting commands into a dead void. We are singing into a living echo chamber, and the universe hums back in harmony. The Hermetic sages would smile at these revelations. They would remind us that the purpose of such knowledge is not mere power, but awakening. To know that the universe is a mental construct is to realize that separation is a dream. The same consciousness that moves galaxies moves your heartbeat. The same intelligence that patterns the stars patterns your thoughts. There is no inside and outside, only the infinite mind exploring itself through countless points of view. As you listen to these words, imagine the cosmos not as empty space sprinkled with matter, but as a luminous field of awareness. Imagine every particle as a note in a grand symphony, vibrating with intention. Imagine yourself not as a small observer looking outward, but as the very consciousness through which the universe becomes aware of itself. This is the quantum mirror, a reality that reflects the observer, a universe that dreams in tandem with the dreamer. Hold this vision gently as we move forward, for in the next stage of our journey we will bring this vast insight closer to home. We will explore how the mind you wake up with each morning, the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that flicker through your daily life, acts as the architect of your personal world, shaping every experience like a sculptor shaping clay. The quantum field is not far away. It begins in the quiet space behind your eyes, waiting for the next thought to ripple into form. The universe may be a vast and dreaming mind, but its grand revelations mean little until we recognize how this principle flows through the intimate corridors of our own lives. It is one thing to marvel at quantum particles dancing to the rhythm of observation. It is another to realize that the thoughts and feelings you entertain each day are quietly sculpting the reality you call mine. The law of mentalism is not locked away in the heavens. It is alive in the texture of every moment, shaping your world from the inside out. Perhaps it is a memory, a hope, a worry. Notice how it carries an energy, subtle, yet undeniable. That energy is not inert. Like a seed dropped into fertile soil, it begins to organize your perceptions, filter your senses, and color the events that unfold around you. What you consistently think becomes the atmosphere through which you interpret life. A joyful mind sees opportunity where a fearful mind sees threat. A grateful heart finds synchronicity where a bitter one finds chaos. The universe listens, not as an external judge, but as the silent resonance of the all responding to its own vibration. Science offers quiet confirmation of this inner architecture. Neuroscience reveals that repeated thoughts carve grooves in the brain, forming neural pathways that shape behavior and perception. Psychologists speak of the confirmation bias, the tendency to notice what aligns with existing beliefs. Energy follows attention. What you dwell upon strengthens. These are modern echoes of the Hermetic teaching that like attracts like, that the mind's vibration calls forth experiences of matching frequency. Consider how imagination, the simple act of envisioning, acts as a creative force. Every invention, every piece of art, every revolution in human history began as an image in someone's mind. Before a building rises, it is drawn as a blueprint. Before a melody fills the air, it hums in silence within the composer. The same principle moves quietly through your own life. Your inner pictures, conscious or unconscious, become the scaffolding of your days. When you imagine yourself thriving, your nervous system begins to align with possibility. When you dwell on failure, the body prepares for loss. The mind is the sculptor, and reality is the clay. Yet not all thought is deliberate. Beneath the surface of conscious awareness flows a vast ocean of subconscious patterns, beliefs inherited from family, culture, and collective history. These patterns often run like hidden currents, shaping choices and emotions without your knowing. A person may consciously desire abundance while unconsciously carrying a deep belief in scarcity. The conscious mind plants seeds, but the subconscious determines whether the soil will nourish them. This is why ancient initiates place such importance on self-knowledge and mental discipline. To create with clarity, you must first discover the unseen programs that cloud the lens. Notice how emotions amplify the power of thought. A casual idea drifts like a feather, but a thought charged with feeling becomes magnetic. Gratitude, love, and joy vibrate at high frequencies, sending signals that resonate with harmonious outcomes. Fear, anger, and despair create denser vibrations that echo in kind. This is not punishment or reward, it is resonance, the natural matching of frequencies in a universe made of thought and energy. When a tuning fork is struck, another of the same pitch begins to sing. Your mind is such a fork. Your emotions are the strike. Take a slow breath and feel how a single shift of attention changes your internal world. Focusing on a memory of kindness softens the body, brightens the senses, and invites subtle synchronicities. Dwelling on an old resentment contracts the heart and darkens perception. The external circumstances may remain the same, yet the quality of experience transforms. This is the daily miracle of mentalism, the realization that reality is not fixed, but filtered through the state of your mind. To work with this law is not to force the universe, but to cultivate inner clarity. Meditation, breathwork, prayer, and contemplative writing are not mere spiritual exercises. They are tools for tuning your personal mind to the frequency of the infinite mind. When you quiet the chatter of thought, you step back from the whirlwind of conditioning and glimpse the spacious awareness beneath. From this stillness, new patterns of thinking emerge, patterns that harmonize with truth, beauty, and creative flow. Practical application begins gently. Notice the stories you tell about yourself and the world. Are they stories of limitation or of possibility? Each narrative is a spell, shaping the field of potential around you. Begin to choose words that honor your highest vision. Replace "I can't" with "I am learning." Replace "the world is cruel" with "life is teaching me." These small shifts send ripples into the quantum field, inviting experiences that reflect your new vibration. Yet this practice is not about chasing constant positivity or denying the complexity of life. The mind's creative power includes the ability to embrace contrast, to learn from difficulty, to transform shadow into wisdom. Pain, too, is a teacher, revealing the thoughts and patterns that call for healing. The goal is not to suppress darkness, but to see it clearly, to bring it into the light of awareness, where it can dissolve. As the Hermetic Principle of polarity teaches, every experience contains its opposite. By understanding the dance of duality, you reclaim the freedom to choose your response. Remember, the architect does not work alone. The personal mind is a doorway through which the infinite mind expresses itself. When your thoughts align with love, compassion, and the quiet intelligence of the whole, creation flows effortlessly. Synchronicities multiply. Opportunities arise without strain. Life begins to feel less like a battlefield and more like a conversation, an ongoing dialogue between your inner state and the living universe. So as you move through your day, treat each thought as a brushstroke on the canvas of existence. Treat each feeling as a note in the music of becoming. The law of mentalism whispers that nothing is truly separate, that every inner movement resonates through the vast field of being. You are not a powerless observer in a fixed reality. You are a co-creator, a living architect of experience, shaping the dream as the dream shapes you. Carry this awareness into the moments ahead. Let your thoughts be music. Let your emotions be instruments of alignment. For in the next step of our journey, we will descend into the shadowed side of mind, where hidden fears and collective patterns reveal the deeper work of awakening. Before light can shine fully, the unseen vibrations of the unconscious must also be heard and transformed. Everything in existence moves. Even what seems still, the stone, the mountain, the midnight sky, is trembling with an invisible rhythm. This is the Hermetic Principle of vibration, the silent heartbeat of the cosmos. If the universe is a vast mind, vibration is its breath, the pulse through which thought becomes form. Nothing rests. From the swirl of galaxies to the flicker of an idea, all things are waves within the infinite ocean of consciousness. Imagine holding a tuning fork and striking it gently. The sound is not merely a note, it is a living wave, a dance of air molecules that stirs the room. Now imagine striking another fork of the same pitch nearby. Without touch, it begins to hum in sympathy. This is resonance, one vibration awakening another. The same principle flows through the mental universe. Thoughts are not silent abstractions. They are frequencies, sending ripples through the field of potential, calling forth realities that match their pitch. Science confirms what the ancients sensed. Quantum physics describes particles not as tiny objects, but as vibrating strings of energy. Modern medicine reveals that every cell of the body emits electromagnetic signals. Even the brain hums with measurable waves, shifting between patterns of alertness, creativity, and dream. When we think or feel, we generate a frequency, a subtle tone that joins the cosmic symphony. Emotion is the amplifier. A fleeting thought may barely stir the field, but a thought charged with feeling sends a powerful vibration outward. Gratitude, love, joy, these high frequencies resonate with harmony, drawing experiences of beauty and flow. Fear, anger, despair. These lower vibrations attract turbulence and echo back in kind. This is not superstition, but resonance, the natural tendency of like to attract like in a universe woven of energy. Consider the moments when your inner state seemed to shine for the world around you. The day you woke, filled with quiet confidence, and found doors opening with ease. Or the time you carried anger and noticed conflict at every turn. These are not coincidences. They are the music of vibration playing through the instrument of your life. Your thoughts are notes. Your emotions are volume. Reality is the echoing hall that responds to every sound. The Hermetic masters taught that to change your life, you must first change your vibration. This is why ancient rituals use chant, breath, and movement to shift frequency, to lift the mind into alignment with higher realms. Today, meditation serves the same purpose. When you breathe deeply and quiet the restless chatter of thought, your body and mind begin to resonate with coherence. Heart and brain waves synchronize. The field around you becomes more ordered, more receptive to insight and creation. Visualization works through this same law. When you imagine a scene with clarity and emotion, you generate a vibratory pattern that the universe can echo. The clearer and more heartfelt the image, the stronger the resonance. This is not a mechanical trick, but a dialogue with the infinite mind. You're not forcing reality. You're tuning yourself to the frequency of the reality you wish to experience. The principle of vibration also reveals why words and symbols carry power. Every word is a sound wave, every symbol a pattern of energy. When spoken with intention, they shape the subtle atmosphere of consciousness. This is the essence of mantra, prayer, and sacred music. A single syllable, repeated with devotion, can shift the vibration of an entire room, aligning the mind with universal harmony. Yet vibration is not limited to what we emit. We are also receivers, constantly absorbing the frequencies around us, the moods of others, the rhythms of nature, the silent hum of collective thought. Spend time in a peaceful forest, and your body begins to mirror the slow, balanced vibration of the earth. Walk into a room filled with tension, and you may feel your own energy tighten. Awareness is the key. By noticing what you absorb, you reclaim the ability to choose what you transmit. The web of thought that connects all beings is not a poetic metaphor. It is a living network of resonance. When enough minds hold a shared intention, whether for harmony or for fear, the collective vibration shapes the unfolding of events. This is why group meditation can influence measurable outcomes, and why collective anxiety can ripple through societies like an unseen storm. Each mind is a node in the universal field. Each thought is a thread in the great tapestry of creation. Take a moment to sense your own vibration. Beneath the surface of words and ideas, feel the hum of your body, the quiet rhythm of your breath, the subtle music of awareness itself. This is the primary reality, more fundamental than any story the mind can tell. When you attune to this inner frequency, you align with the deeper intelligence of the cosmos. You begin to live not as a random fragment, but as a conscious note in the eternal song. To work with vibration is to enter the art of subtle influence. You cannot force a tuning fork to sing by will alone, but you can strike the note within yourself and let resonance do the rest. Change your inner frequency through love, through gratitude, through mindful presence, and the outer world must eventually respond. The universe is a mirror, but it is also a choir, and your vibration is its invitation to harmony. Carry this awareness into the moments ahead. Let your thoughts be music. Let your emotions be instruments of alignment. For in the next step of our journey, we will descend into the shadowed side of mind, where hidden fears and collective patterns reveal the deeper work of awakening. Before light can shine fully, the unseen vibrations of the unconscious must also be heard and transformed. Every light casts a shadow. Every thought, no matter how luminous, shapes a counterpart in the unseen. To understand the law of mentalism fully, we must journey into this quiet territory, the realm of the subconscious, the collective field, the places where mind hides from itself. If all is mind, then nothing is outside of it. The fears we avoid, the memories we bury, the patterns we inherit are not strangers. They are echoes within the same infinite consciousness that births the stars. The same mental substance that dreams galaxies into being also dreams your hidden worries and unspoken desires. In the Hermetic view, creation is a mirror. Every thought we hold is reflected outward, not only in the physical world, but within the secret corridors of our own psyche. The shadow is not an enemy. It is the part of the mirror we have turned away from. Modern psychology calls it the unconscious. Ancient mystics called it the underworld, the dark sea, the womb of potential. Here reside forgotten emotions, ancestral memories, and collective fears, patterns so deep they seem to belong to the earth itself. These vibrations influence us silently. A sudden wave of sadness, an unexplainable tension, a recurring dream, each may be the whisper of the shadow mind seeking recognition. The quantum field offers a parallel. Particles appear and disappear in a dance of uncertainty, revealing that what we call empty space is alive with hidden possibilities. In the same way, the shadow of mind is not dead weight. It is raw creative power. What we repress gathers energy, waiting for the right vibration to surface. Ignored, it becomes chaos. Embraced, it becomes transformation. To walk this path is not to wage war against darkness, but to listen. When a painful memory arises, it is the universe calling attention to a vibration ready to be healed. When collective feeling grips the world, it is the infinite mind showing where love must be amplified. Hermetic wisdom teaches that nothing can be destroyed, only transmuted. The alchemist does not fight lead. he refines it into gold. Consider the mirror again. If you stand before it and frown, the reflection does not attack you. It simply responds. So it is with shadow. If we meet our inner darkness with judgment, the reflection hardens. If we meet it with curiosity, the reflection softens. In this way, every fear is a doorway. Every wound is a teacher. The mind that created the pattern also contains the key to its release. One practical way to enter this dialogue is through mindful observation. Sit in silence. Let thoughts and feelings rise without grasping or pushing away. Watch them as waves, not commands. This simple practice shines light on the shadow without violence. Over time, hidden patterns begin to reveal their origins. What once felt like a threatening force becomes a message from a deeper self. Another path is creative expression. Writing, painting, music, movement. These are not mere hobbies. They are alchemical acts. When you give form to the inexpressible, you bring shadow into visibility, where it can be integrated. In ancient temples, initiates enacted myths of death and rebirth to embody this truth. Today, the ritual may be as simple as breathing through a painful memory or speaking a long-silenced truth. Collectively, humanity stands at the same threshold. Our world reflects not only individual minds, but the shared vibration of billions. Wars, divisions, and ecological crises are not separate from consciousness. They are mirrors of the collective shadow. This is not reason for despair, but a call to responsibility. Each person who heals an inner wound reduces the resonance of fear in the whole. Each act of compassion raises the frequency of the collective field. The Hermetic Masters would remind us, as above, so below, as within, so without. The work of the shadow is not a private quest for perfection. It is service to the universal mind. When you bring light to your inner darkness, you offer light to the entire cosmos. Your transformation ripples outward like concentric circles in a still pond, touching lives you may never meet. And so the shadow, once feared as an enemy, becomes a guide. It shows where love is absent, where understanding must deepen, where vibration longs to rise. In meeting it, you fulfill the deeper promise of the law of mentalism. That mind is not merely a creator of worlds, but a healer of them. The universe thinks through you, and through your willingness to embrace even the darkest thought, it remembers its own wholeness. Let this chapter settle like a quiet dusk. Feel the vastness within you where light and shadow meet without conflict. Here lies the secret the Hermetic sages guarded, that the infinite mind is complete only when every fragment is welcomed home. In the next step of our journey, we will explore how this integration leads to mastery, the conscious shaping of reality not by force, but by resonance with the one that dreams us all. Creation is not static. It is a flowing river of possibility. If all is mind, then every state of being is but a temporary vibration, a pattern of thought waiting to be shaped anew. The Hermetic Masters called this power mental transmutation, the sacred art of changing the quality of a vibration, of lifting the frequency of thought and experience, just as an alchemist transforms base metals into gold. This is the practical heart of the law of mentalism, to know that nothing is fixed, and that every inner shift reshapes the outer world. Begin with a simple recognition. A thought is not a stone. It is a wave, a pulse of living energy. It arrives, it moves, it dissolves. The fear you feel is not an iron wall. It is a vibration, and like all vibrations, it can be raised, slowed, or transmuted into a higher state. This is why the sages said, "Change the mind, and you change the world." Consider the difference between ice and steam. Both are water, but their forms depend entirely on vibration. Add heat, and ice softens into liquid. add more, and liquid ascends into vapor, becoming invisible yet more expansive. The essence has not changed, only the rate of vibration. So it is with consciousness. Anger can soften into understanding, grief can lift into wisdom, and despair can evaporate into joy when the inner frequency is raised. How then does one practice this alchemy? The first step is awareness. You cannot transmute what you do not perceive. When a heavy emotion arises, pause and name it. Feel its texture. Is it tight, cold, restless? Naming does not trap the energy. It shines light upon it. In that moment of recognition, you are no longer the vibration. You are the one who observes it. Awareness is the flame that begins the transformation. The second step is acceptance. To fight a vibration is to feed it. Resistance locks energy in place. Acceptance, however, opens the door to movement. Breathe into the feeling. Allow it to be as it is, without judgment. Just as an alchemist must first receive the raw material before refining it, the mind must welcome what it seeks to transmute. The third step is conscious elevation. Here, intention becomes the crucible. Choose a higher thought, not as denial, but as direction. Gratitude is a potent catalyst. To silently thank the universe, even for a lesson wrapped in pain, raises the frequency of the moment. Visualization adds power. See the heavy energy as a cloud gently dissolving into light. Feel your breath as a current lifting the vibration upward. This is not imagination alone. It is the mind exercising its natural ability to reshape itself. Modern science offers striking parallels. Neuroplasticity shows that the brain rewires itself according to repeated thoughts and emotions. Epigenetics reveals that cellular behavior responds to energetic signals of belief and environment. These findings echo the Hermetic truth. Thought is not only reflective, but generative. When you hold a higher vibration long enough, new neural pathways form, new possibilities emerge, and physical reality follows the lead of consciousness. Mental transmutation extends beyond personal emotions. It can be applied to relationships, situations, even collective fields of thought. A tense conversation, for example, carries a shared vibration. If you remain grounded, breathing love into the space, you subtly invite the other person's energy to rise. Over time, this influence becomes profound. Like a tuning fork held to a silent string, a single coherent mind can awaken harmony in a room, a family, a society. The Hermetic texts speak of this art in symbolic language. The higher controls the lower by understanding it. This is not domination, but resonance. The higher frequency naturally organizes the lower without force, just as sunlight melts ice without struggle. Your task is not to battle darkness, but to embody a light so steady that lower vibrations cannot help but shift in its presence. Rituals can deepen the practice. Chanting, prayer, breathwork, and meditation are ancient technologies of vibration. When you chant a sacred sound or breathe in a measured rhythm, you are not merely calming the mind, you are altering the frequency of your being. Over time, these practices attune the nervous system to finer harmonics, making transmutation less an effort and more a natural state. But mental alchemy is not about escaping the human experience. To transmute is not to bypass. Joy does not mean the absence of grief. It means the freedom to let grief become wisdom. Power does not mean the absence of fear. It means the ability to let fear evolve into courage. Every lower vibration carries the seed of a higher one. In accepting the seed, you awaken the flower. Look at your life as a living laboratory. Where do you feel heaviness? Where does the same pattern repeat? Each of these is lead waiting to become gold. Perhaps it is a belief of limitation, a habit of self-criticism, a memory that clings like shadow. Bring it into awareness. Accept it without resistance. Then choose, gently, persistently, to lift the vibration through gratitude, compassion, or a vision of a higher truth. The universe, being mind, must respond to the change within its own substance. As you deepen this practice, you will notice subtle miracles. A conflict that once seemed immovable begins to soften. An opportunity appears where none existed. Your body feels lighter, more alive. These are not coincidences. They are the reflections of a mind learning to move its own currents, a soul remembering its creative authority. Mental transmutation is not a single act, but a way of living. Each breath becomes an alchemical choice. Each thought is a chance to refine vibration. Over time, this steady work becomes effortless, like the quiet skill of a master musician whose fingers no longer search for no, as they simply play the song of transformation. Carry this awareness as a gentle flame. Know that nothing is beyond change, because all is mind, and mind is movement. In the next step of our journey, we will explore how this art of transmutation leads to mastery of reality itself. A mastery not of control, but of harmony, where the individual mind begins to merge with the infinite rhythm that guides all things. Every step of this journey has brought us closer to a single revelation. If all is mind, then reality is not a distant mechanism, but an intimate reflection. The universe is not merely observed, it is experienced from within, and every thought, every feeling, every quiet intention becomes a brushstroke upon the canvas of existence. Mastery, in the Hermetic sense, is not the conquest of matter. It is the art of conscious participation in the infinite mind that dreams the worlds. To master reality is to awaken from the trance of separation. The common belief is that life happens to us, that events are random and we are powerless before them. But the law of mentalism whispers a different truth. The outer world is a living mirror, responding to the inner currents of thought. This does not mean that every detail is the product of personal will, but that the universe moves in resonance with the vibrations we sustain. Your mind is not a private island. It is a wave in the cosmic ocean, inseparable from the tides that shape galaxies. Imagine a musician tuning an instrument. A single string slightly off-key can color the entire melody. In the same way, a single sustained thought of gratitude or resentment, of love or fear, subtly tunes the field of your life. The Hermetic adept learns to hear these inner notes and to adjust them until the song of reality flows in harmony with the highest intention. This is not magic in the theatrical sense. It is alignment, the quiet precision of consciousness attuned to the universal rhythm. The first key to mastery is inner clarity. The infinite mind responds not to scattered impulses, but to coherent direction. A fogged intention produces a fogged result. To create with power, the heart and mind must speak the same language. This is why the sages emphasized meditation, contemplation, and self-knowledge. When you know what you truly desire, know not the fleeting cravings of ego, but the deep call of the soul. Your vibration becomes focused, and the universe can echo it with clarity. The second key is emotional resonance. Thought is the architect, but emotion is the builder. A vision held without feeling remains a sketch. A vision infused with joy, love, or serene certainty gains the energy to crystallize. Quantum physics hints at this through the observer effect, where the act of focused attention influences the behavior of particles. The heart is not merely a metaphor. It emits an electromagnetic field measurable several feet beyond the body. When thought and feeling unite, reality bends toward coherence. The third key is detachment. Mastery is not control in the sense of force. It is a dance with the unseen, a trust in the intelligence of the infinite mind. When you set an intention, release the need to dictate every detail. The river of creation carries wisdom beyond the reach of the conscious ego. To cling is to constrict. To trust is to allow the universal current to arrange the perfect outcome. The adept holds the vision but lets go of the timetable. Consider the gardener. She plants seeds with care, waters them, and ensures they receive light. But she does not tug at the sprouts to make them grow faster. She knows that life unfolds in its own rhythm. So it is with mental creation. You plant the seed of thought, nourish it with emotion, and then let the infinite mind guide its blossoming. As you practice these principles, synchronicities begin to multiply. A book falls into your hands at the perfect moment. A chance meeting opens a new path. Obstacles dissolve in ways you could not have planned. These are the signatures of alignment, signs that your inner vibration is harmonizing with the universal field. What once seemed miraculous becomes natural, for the miraculous is simply the natural law recognized. Yet mastery carries a deeper invitation. It is not merely about shaping personal circumstances. The true adept uses these laws in service of the greater whole. When your vibration lifts beyond the narrow concerns of self, you begin to create not just for personal gain, but for the evolution of consciousness itself. Your thoughts become offerings to the collective field, subtle blessings that uplift all beings. This is why the highest Hermetic teaching is compassion. The mind that knows its unity with all things naturally seeks the good of all. To live in this way is to experience a quiet shift of identity. You cease to see yourself as a separate thinker and begin to feel yourself as the infinite mind thinking through you. Moments of profound stillness reveal that the same awareness looking through your eyes is the awareness shining through the stars. Creation no longer feels like a task. It becomes a dance of participation. You are both the painter and the painting, the dreamer and the dream. Practical mastery does not mean a life without challenge. Storms will still come. But the master sees even chaos as a canvas. When difficulties arise, the question is no longer, why is this happening to me? But what vibration is this inviting me to refine? In this way, every event becomes fuel for higher creation. The outer world ceases to be a prison and becomes a workshop of infinite transformation. Feel this now as a living truth. Beneath every sound, every sight, every breath, the infinite mind is present, silent, vast, and responsive. Your thoughts ripple through it like stones cast into a still lake, each creating patterns that spread far beyond what the eye can see. Mastery is the choice to cast those stones with care, to send ripples of harmony into the field of possibility. As we near the end of this journey, remember, the law of mentalism is not an abstraction to be admired. It is a living reality to be embodied. You are not a passive observer of a predetermined world. You are a conscious participant in the eternal act of creation. To master reality is simply to remember what you have always been, an expression of the infinite mind, dreaming worlds with every breath, every thought, every beat of the heart. Carry this awareness gently, like a flame in the night. Let it illuminate the next steps of your life, where intention and surrender walk hand in hand. For in the final chapter of our exploration, we will return to the source of all thought, where the personal and the cosmic dissolve into the timeless unity that birthed both dreamer and dream. Every journey of knowledge eventually circles back to the place where it began. After exploring laws, vibrations, and the art of shaping reality, The final step is not another technique or secret formula. It is a return to the silent source from which all thought arises and into which all creation dissolves. The Hermetic masters called this the All, the infinite mind, the one that is beyond name yet closer than breath. Here, mastery gives way to mystery. Here, the seeker discovers that the destination was never separate from the self. Imagine standing on a mountaintop after a long ascent. The climb required effort, discernment, practice, inner refinement. But at the summit, there is only sky, vast and without boundaries. There is nothing to conquer, nothing to claim, only a view so wide it erases the sense of a single climber. So it is with the final realization of the law of mentalism. After all the alchemy of thought, after learning to transmute vibration and guide reality, the highest wisdom is to recognize the eternal mind as your own deepest nature. This source is not distant. It is not hidden behind stars or buried in ancient texts. It is the stillness you feel between one breath and the next. It is the quiet awareness that notices your thoughts but remains untouched by them. Before the first word of creation, before the first vibration, this silent presence simply is. All universes rise and fall within it, like waves upon a boundless sea, yet the sea remains whole and undisturbed. Throughout history, mystics from every culture have pointed toward this truth. The Taoists called it the Tao, the way that cannot be named. The Vedantic sages spoke of Brahman, pure consciousness beyond form. Hermetic philosophy speaks of the All, the mind that contains every reality. Each tradition uses different symbols, but all gestures meet in the same silence. The source cannot be captured by language because language itself emerges from it. To return to the source is to release the belief that you are merely the thinker of thoughts. In deep meditation, there comes a moment when the stream of mental chatter softens. Thoughts still appear, but they are like clouds drifting across a vast sky. Then even the clouds fade, and only the sky remains, clear, infinite, aware. This is not nothingness. It is a fullness too complete for division, a peace beyond even the concept of peace. From this perspective, creation is no longer a puzzle to be solved, but a dance to be enjoyed. The universe does not need your control. It flows spontaneously from the source that you already are. When you taste this truth, even for a heartbeat, the tension of striving dissolves. You may still set intentions, still shape your life with love and clarity, but you no longer believe that fulfillment depends on the next manifestation. Joy is no longer postponed. It is the natural fragrance of being. The sages often describe this realization as awakening from a dream. Within the dream, every experience feels solid and urgent, but upon waking, you see that the dreamer and the dream were never two. In the same way, the infinite mind dreams galaxies and lifetimes, yet remains untouched by time. Your personal story is a sacred play of thought, but your true essence is the silent witness in which the story unfolds. This return to source does not erase individuality. You will still laugh, love, create, and explore. But these actions are now infused with a lightness, a quiet knowing that nothing can add to or subtract from what you already are. Fear loosens its grip because you recognize that birth and death are movements within the eternal. Desire softens because you realize that all you seek is already present in the stillness of awareness. How, then, do we live from this realization? Not by clinging to silence, but by allowing silence to inform every action. Begin the day by resting for a few breaths in pure awareness. Let thoughts come and go without grasping. As you move through the world, remember that every person you meet is another facet of the same infinite jewel. Speak and act with the understanding that you are addressing your own deeper self in every encounter. This is the final lesson of the law of mentalism. The universe is mental, but the mind is not merely a tool. It is the very essence of existence. You are not a fragment of this mind trying to reach it. You are the mind dreaming itself as a seeker, a teacher, a lover, a friend. To realize this is to awaken from the illusion of distance and to rest in the eternal presence of the All. As we close this journey, let the words fade and listen to the quiet hum beneath them. That silence is not empty. It is the living source from which these thoughts arise and into which they return. Stay there for a moment. Feel the truth that requires no argument, no proof. You are that. You have always been that. And from this timeless ground, the dance of creation will continue, endlessly new, endlessly free.